Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Studio Series Transformers 1 Deluxe Class Thundercracker. He's been getting a lot of Studio Series lately, and I mean a lot of Studio Series. There was the Fall of Cybertron, then there was the G1 one, and now there's this one, and I'm pretty sure at some point they were all on shelves at the same time. How that happened, I don't know. But this guy did not sell good in my area because he was on sale. I don't know, my local Walmart's clearing out Studio Series, so yeah, I just kind of snapped him up. He was cheap. He was about 19 bucks, so snapped him up, honestly. It's the only reason is he was cheap. I don't regret it, though, because for some reason, I've really loved these Transformers 1 figures, and I mean, love them. I only have 3 of them, and they're all kind of accidents. I found the Bumblebee at Value Village for like $3. Snap that up in an instant. Great figure. Then I bought Arachnid, who was also on sale. Not as good as he was. Like I said, he was $19. I think she was $29. And yeah, so it wasn't as good of a deal, but I snapped her up anyway just because. And I liked that figure too, not as much as the Bumblebee. But this is probably my favorite one. I'm not going to lie. This Starscream Seeker mold is phenomenal. I actually really like it. Now, there is one small thing, which is he's quite lanky. His legs are very long in comparison to the rest of his body. His torso is very tiny, and his arms are also quite tiny. They fit the torso, but it's just where the legs are so long, and kind of, looks a little weird. But it's fine, in my opinion. I like it as an aesthetic thing. One thing that's nice, I'm just going to talk about the accessories here, they're actually a full-blown reference to the Fall of Cybertron War 4 Cybertron games. This is the exact gun pretty well, like the little mini gun that they had, because I had the toys, the deluxe classes, and they had a very similar thing down to the little rotor kind of gear mechanism being sculpted in, which is cool, and they were 3-barrel. The front comes off, so I'm not sure if there's differences between this one, Starscream and Skywarp. I did not check. Pretty sure the head is different, though, as he does have a visor, and I know Starscream doesn't. And this is probably the first time I think I can remember Thundercracker being depicted with a visor. It's kind of weird, but you know what? That's fine. As far as everything else goes, the blue is nice. It's a bit darker than I think usual, but Thundercracker's blue kind of varies depending on where you're at, and this is a bit on the darker side compared to the 86 release, and then even the Fall of Cybertron, War for Cybertron figure is a little bit lighter than this, I think. So it's a bit more of your regular blue. Genuine. This is like a blue. It's not light, it's not dark. It's kind of just perfect, but still darker than the other ones. The back is actually kind of nice. It's not kibbly, like, at all. Like, of course, you have his wings, but I don't count those as kibble on Seekers. Wings are not kibble to Seekers, in my opinion. That's just how it goes. And I mean, overall, he just looks really, really good. Like I said, other than maybe his little legs, he's a bit hollow in spots as well. Like, the heels are hollow. The legs are hollow. They kind of tried. They covered, like, 60% of the gap and then left that. But that also is there for knee. So I'm not too mad that they left that gap there if it is for the articulation. But as far as it goes, other than that, I like this robot mode. I think it's pretty darn good, and the articulation's also pretty solid with a ball-jointed head. And if you unpeg that, you can get a pretty good look up, but it does leave a wicked gap there, so I wouldn't recommend it. Forward and back, the back's obviously going to be a little hindered by the wings, but unlike the 86, the wings can articulate out of the way, so you can get back motion. You then have an elbow, a swivel at the bicep, no hand, which sucks, but I guess due to just how thin it is, there's also some hollowness in here, which sucks as well. I guess I kind of missed that, but that's that. There is no waist, which is unfortunate. It's just not there due to transformation for back, knee joint, swivel at the thigh, and he also doesn't have an ankle tilt, which also sucks. But other than that, I mean, the articulation being quite limited, including if you're trying to do the gun pose, the best way to go about it is to unpeg the shoulder pad and just kind of rotate it, because otherwise the gun is always going to be stationary to the side. But other than that, I mean, I like the design, but the functionality here is limited. He's not very posable, but I do like the difference of design. But that's not even my favorite part about this figure. My favorite part is probably the transformation, which some might see as clashy, but I love this kind of more complex. I've always been a fan of more complicated-ish transformations. This one's not complicated, but it does a little more than I find a lot of the other figures tend to do lately. And you don't even have to disconnect the guns from the shoulders, which is something else as well. So, the first thing we do for the transformation is peg the feet together, like so. Once you've done that, come to the back. I guess it's actually easier if you don't peg it and then do these little doors, but they don't like to open sometimes anyway. You gotta get a very specific grip on it. Do that. Come to the back of the figure, like so. Unpeg these little black sections from this part here. Once you've done that, take the entire chest piece, rotate it up, take the head, put it back like that, and then you're going to peg the chest like so. You're then going to come in here, and you're going to flip out the nose cone, and then you're going to flip out the rest of it, because it's not all the way flipped, and you're going to bring the chest down, and then pull the cockpit section forward to complete that. And that was one of my favorite parts of the entire transformation, because this doesn't seem comprehensible, because there's a whole section that's just hidden away underneath, which is really nice, and I really like that. Now, before you close this back panel, do make sure that you have these parts in the right spot, because there is tabs right there that go under that part, like that. Pretty easy stuff, nothing too crazy. For the legs, you're going to fold them forward like so, and then fold them down. And then when you do this, you have to make sure that those click into place, because if they don't, most likely it's not going to transform correctly. It is a very major step that you wouldn't think it matters too greatly, but it does. The first time I bought the figure and I was transforming him, I was like, why can't I get this to line up? It wasn't clicked in, and it just wouldn't go. After that, you're going to take your arms, and they just kind of slot in that little hollow section here. There's two tabs, and then there's kind of like some grooves around the hinge points here of the little flap that goes up over the thrusters. You're then going to take the wings, push them back, and then tab them into the sides of the chest, like so. And then, once you've done that, you're going to take shoulders, flip them down, and then kind of flip them in at the same time. They're kind of on this rounded connector, which keeps them in place together. And here we have the alt form, which I like. It's a sleek space jet, and it's not the Tetrajet, obviously, but I like the look of it nonetheless. The blue is great. The red from the wings also looks phenomenal. And honestly, I just like the way it goes. Now, obviously, he's just a folded up robot underneath, but I like the way we get here. Yes, the leg transformation is fairly generic, and the arms ultimately just fold to the side, but I love that chest conversion. I don't know what it is. I love how that whole section goes, and it's kind of nice. Now, again, I might be a little higher on this figure because I got him for cheap, but still, I think he's a pretty good-looking jet mode, and honestly, the transformation to get here is fairly entertaining. The back's a little bit cluttered. There is obviously hands visible, which sucks. That goes from the bottom as well, which is always important with a jet. With a car, it doesn't matter, but with a jet, it's like, okay, the arms are right there. If there was a way to fold the hands away, that would have been nice. The way that the feet fold up on the back, I don't actually hate. The thrusters are pretty, like, built in there. Like, they really just are set in the middle of it. The guns actually get put in to the transformation, and they're not really fully, like, removable. The kneecaps kind of come up over them, and it's kind of nice, honestly. Like, they fully integrate it. You don't even have to remove them and put them on the wings or something. They just fully are in the transformation scheme with the shoulder pads, which is nice. The cockpit, I feel is a little small, like the nose cone and cockpit area. Like, I feel like the rest of the jet's kind of large, but this is kind of small. But maybe, again, transformation thing. But overall, I mean, I don't fully hate this thing, and I actually really like the look of the jet. like a lot. I think it's a very cool little space jet, or spaceship. I don't know what you want to call it, but it looks pretty good. Other than that, let's get into the final thoughts. So as far as things go for Thundercracker, I think it's good. It really is. It's not anything crazy. It's like a perfect middle of the road figure, and I mean, if your Walmart's clearancing these things out too, I would probably say get it, because I think it's worth that price. I don't think it's worth the full deluxe price, which again has gone up. It just keeps going up. The prices keep going up. It gets harder and harder, and at the point with Transformers now where the prices are getting higher, but they're getting closer and closer to import stuff, and it's just kind of like, what's the point anymore at points? But this guy here, who I wouldn't have gave a second look to for that full price, is solid enough for that other price, which was $19. Which, yeah, perfectly well and good. No big issue. Now, the figure is obviously flawed. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's not flawed. The articulation is fairly poor, actually. Overall, it's not super articulate, as I was maybe hoping it would be. But even with that, I still like a lot of the aspects of this guy. I still like that transformation. I like how the little nose cone transformation works there, where it just kind of folds into the chest. Yes, that's becoming more and more common since Cyclonus did it, but what are you going to do? I mean, overall, for just a little random Thundercracker figure, he's fine. Like I said, his biggest issue is his articulation. That's it. And maybe his legs being super lanky, but that's maybe an aesthetic thing. But it's just the articulation thing, again, where they just kind of didn't give him some pretty big things, such as a waist swivel, but then again, that's a common Seeker thing, isn't it? But I'm not going to defend that. The new Seekers have it at long last, so there's at least that. But the no ankle tilt is kind of crazy, because the only reason I don't think it's there is because of how they did the thruster transformation, where it's the heel, and it clamps in like that. They couldn't put like a hinge up here, maybe? I don't know. There's something in there they probably could have did. Ultimately speaking, though, I think he's just a middle-of-the-road figure. He's perfectly fine, but I still like him. Genuinely, it's a fun little figure. He's a fun little desk toy. That's how I see him. He's not anything spectacular. He's not a must-have figure. Like I said, if you're looking at him and he's on discount, get him. Otherwise, don't pay full price. He's one of those ones I wouldn't pay full price for, but he's fun. That's it. He is a fun figure. I'll give him a 3 out of 5. And that'll be the review of Transformers 1, Studio Series Transformers 1 Thundercracker. This has been Elite signing out. See yous in like a month.